This is otherwise state champ Alex Thompson. This is Josh Elwer from the University of Northern Iowa, and you're listening to Potentially Dangerous on IA Wrestle.
Hey, is this heaven?
No, it's Iowa.
From high school to international wrestling, on the mat and beyond, this is the Potentially Dangerous podcast with the guys from IA Wrestle.
If you're a fighter, you like a fight. If you're an American, you like a fight. If you're an Iowa Hawkeye, you know you're going to get a fight.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. And follow us on social media platforms at IA Wrestle. Time to strap it up and get to the show.
All right, welcome back to Potentially Dangerous. This is episode number 66, and we got a special podcast coming for you guys. I'm joined today by Night of Conflict participant, Connor Brown out of Missouri. First, what we do want to give a thanks to MyHouse Sportswear sponsoring the podcast. They've been sponsoring us for quite a while now, so if you're a high school team looking to, maybe get some new gear for your team, just go ahead and check out iawrestle.com. You can see the link to go to MyHouse Sportswear and get geared up. So with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the show here. And we got Connor. So how you doing, Connor?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really glad you could join me today. And, like I said, you're from Missouri, and Oak Grove, is that right?
Yeah, that's my high school.
All right. So, up here in Iowa, not a lot of people, are familiar with you yet. So I just kind of want to get some background on you. And so first up, how did you get your start in wrestling?
I was just a young kid. I was probably 5 or so. And my cousins had been doing it for a while. So I figured, why not give it a shot, and tried it. And I ended up really liking it. And that's why I stuck with it.
So you started at a pretty young age. What grade did you decide, you were starting to really gravitate toward it and realize, this is a sport you're really good at?
I'd say I didn't really realize that I was, getting good until about 5th, 6th grade, and then I realized, this is the sport that I want to stick with, and so I kind of quit all the other sports that I was doing at the time and just dedicated all my time towards wrestling.
And, obviously we got you set up here in the Night of Conflict match. You'll be taking on Aiden Reeves, who's a pretty big sophomore in our state. You're ranked 15th in the nation. Do you remember the feeling the first time you saw that you were ranked?
It was my sophomore year, at the very end, going into the summer. And I just was really shocked at the time, and just excited to be finally recognized for all my accomplishments and what I've put in the work for. So it was just a good feeling.
You say you're talking about the accomplishments you got that you worked hard for. So what is your favorite? Right up there. What's the best accomplishment you think you got? What's the one you're most proud of, I should say?
I'd probably have to say my Kansas City Stampede title was one of my biggest things. So I was the first one to ever win it from my school. It was just a tough tournament throughout the high school season, and I just feel like that was probably my biggest accomplishment.
And you also got that state title last year, right?
Yeah, I got one my junior year too, and sophomore and freshman year.
I was just going to say 3-time state champ. My apologies there. So
you're good.
Obviously you're looking to close out with a pretty big accomplishment. How many Missouri 4-time state champions are there, and what's it like to join that club? Is that a pretty unique accomplishment, I'm assuming?
I think there's 26 of them right now, so I'd be the 27th. So, there's been quite a bit that has done it so far, but I still think it's a pretty hard feat to accomplish, winning it all 4 years in high school. That's still hard to do whatever state you're in, I'd say. So.
Absolutely. You got to be healthy every year. Sometimes you just got to get, whether people like to admit it or not, there's some breaks that have to go your way. So that's definitely, I guess I wasn't trying to belittle the Missouri State Tournament. Don't think that, but
yeah.
But no, that's awesome. Definitely looking forward to watching you do that. Just kind of, we'll move into the night of conflict here a little bit. And, last year obviously was the first time we ever did it. So, were you aware of it last year?
I saw like some posts on Twitter and stuff, so I knew about it. But I think I watched a couple matches from the duel, but that was about it.
Did you get a feel for the event then? What did you see then on the Flow stream that kind of just you really remember from last year?
Obviously that's in Carver Hawkeye Arena, and that it drew a pretty big crowd, I'd say. For a high school dual meet, it's not bad sized. I don't know. I just feel like it's a good opportunity to wrestle a good kid and, show everyone why I'm ranked, I guess.
That's right. What you're made of. So what was it, the biggest thing, I suppose, then that attracted you to this specific event? Because there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend, or that weekend, I should say. Super 32 is going on. So what was it about the night of conflict that you're like, yeah, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to be at and compete?
It's just I don't know. It just felt like a good atmosphere to be in. I get to wrestle in Carver Hawkeye Arena as a high schooler. Not too many people can say that they got to wrestle in Carver Hawkeye as a high schooler, and I felt like it's not too far away from where I live. It's just a drive away, and I just felt like the opponent, Aiden, will be a good test, and I don't know. I just felt like it's a good atmosphere.
Absolutely. So we're getting into this match then. You got Aiden Reeves. Obviously, like you said, this is a big stage with Carver Hawkeye. So it's kind of, one of those bigger events that probably will stand out to you forever. So I guess, but coming into this match, what is in your mind right now when you think about like your greatest match ever or go-to match? Someone says, what's your favorite match? What would you say that is? And take me through it a little bit.
I guess
this one a little bit.
The one I can think of most recently was probably winning my third state title this year. I just had a really tough kid. He's super long and lanky. He just had a lot of leverage on me, and I got the first takedown, and then I think he got two reversals back to back, and so I was down in the third, like 4-2. I ended up getting a reversal, and then I don't really know how the match exactly went, but I ended up getting a reversal at the very, very end. It's like 2 seconds left, and it just showed that I kept fighting through the whole match and never gave up.
Yeah, man, that's some toughness. That's showing you grind it out and come from behind victories. That's always that's a popular pick to be a favorite match. So, now coming in, just kind of thinking about it. Obviously, you haven't wrestled it, so it's kind of hard to know. But where do you think this event is going to rank for you among your all-time accomplishments and just competing wise?
I have to say, if I come out with the win like I expect to, then it'll be pretty high on my list. But, unfortunately, if I come out with a loss, then I'm going to have to say it's probably not one of my top picks for being my favorite match.
That's fair. That's fair. So moving into Aiden specifically, what do you know about him coming into this match? Have you done some scouting, anything like that?
I know that he's like a 3-time All-American at Fargo. He had a pretty good freshman year in Iowa. I think he placed third.
Yep.
I haven't really watched him match-wise, but a couple of the kids down at my club have wrestled with him when he was younger, and they've told me a couple things, and then I've just heard some things, but I haven't really scouted him.
So as you prepare for your match then, have you taken some of those things that your friends have told you, and are you kind of maybe building a little bit of a game plan? I know, for wrestling, a lot of guys like to keep it free and loose and don't want to try and structure their match. But, I mean, do you kind of know – you don't have to say, but do you know what you're going to kind of do and have a bit of a plan in mind?
Yeah, I feel like I have, just like how I go into every match. I don't try and worry about what they're going to do. It's more of, what I'm trying to do, imposing my will against them, just not letting him set the pace, and just wrestling my match, and I think it should go my way.
So how much freestyle do you do then?
I wasn't big. I started probably my 8th grade year, I'd say, is when I started really getting into freestyle and Greco. I didn't really understand it until this year. I just kind of went out there and wrestled however I wrestled. I didn't really know much technique. So this year was probably my first big year of freestyle and Greco, I'd say.
And so now, obviously, I mean, Night of Conflict's a little bit different for high school rules where we do have the push out. So, I mean, how do you think that's going to factor into your match, or do you think it's not even going to affect how you wrestle at all?
I think how I wrestle, it's not going to affect, but if how Aiden wrestles, it might affect the match. I don't know. We'll just have to see when we get in there. I don't think it'll affect my wrestling at all.
Perfect. So, coming in, you're putting your ranking on the line. I mean, what's that kind of feeling like? Are you nervous about that now that you worked really hard to get that ranking? Is that something that's kind of sitting in your mind at all?
I don't think so. Maybe as I get closer to the duel, then it might sink in. But right now, I just, it's not a big worry for me.
One thing I really got to credit you, the entire state of Missouri, just based on this event alone. I mean, we called you guys up, and Missouri showed up. We got 3 of you guys coming up to the event. All of you guys, you're all ranked, and you're all, 2 of you are putting your ranking on a line against somebody ranked lower than you. So you're definitely showing up, and you're saying you're not afraid. So what do you think about, I mean, all 3 of you guys coming up? I know you're familiar with Kyron Hagan, who's wrestling Anthony Madrigal. So what do you think about this Missouri presence showing up to the Night of Conflict?
I think it just shows, like you said, that we're not afraid to put us out on the line. Like we want to wrestle, we want to wrestle the best, and I just think it shows, we're a tough state, I think that all 3, the kids that we're bringing up, me, Nico, and Kyron, we're all great competitors, and we'll definitely put on a show.
Definitely, and I know we're really looking forward. We're really glad to have all 3 of you Missourianites. We're really excited. Looking into the event, we're getting closer. Just kind of want to throw this shout out. We want to thank Rudis for coming on and providing gear for the event. I mean, do you own any Rudis gear yet?
Yeah, I actually do. I have a couple shirts of theirs. Their gear is very nice.
What do you think about Rudis coming in and sponsoring this event? You're going to get a singlet, shorts, a shirt, backpack. I mean, what are you thinking about, seeing them as the sponsor of this event, get some cool stuff out of it?
I just really appreciate them coming through and helping out the sport of wrestling. It's just nice to have someone that'll sponsor you for these type of events. Yeah.
Pumped up. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Obviously, you're a senior coming into your final year. July was the first time college coaches could contact you about scholarship offers. I mean, have you started giving some serious thought to where you're looking for colleges yet?
Yeah, I've actually taken right now 3 official visits and a bunch of unofficials. So I have 2 officials left, and then I should have my decision. I'm starting to narrow everything down to where I feel like I fit in and where I need to be. So it'll be.
Where have you visited?
So far, I have visited the University of Pittsburgh, University of Missouri, Old Dominion, and then this upcoming weekend I'm going to Oregon State and then South Dakota State in 2 weeks after Carver.
South Dakota State. So, I mean, just kind of real quick here, we're going to have some college coaches coming in that are going to be there at the event. I mean, was that something that kind of factored in, maybe getting an opportunity to put yourself out there on a national stage, not just for the match, but also to get some eyeballs from coaches on you?
I don't think so. I felt like I had the group that I have right now is the group that's kind of been with me, and I just really appreciate all those colleges for the time that they've put in recruiting me, and I feel like I have a good enough group to where I don't really need any others to look at.
Absolutely. Well, not trying to point you any way here, but I will. Some of those colleges a little bit farther away from Iowa to travel. But I do know South Dakota State is going to be in the house. They'll have some coaches there watching the event. So just kind of, I wasn't really saying like you're looking to increase your exposure, but more or less just giving those coaches an opportunity to get to see you. And for some of them, they'll get to see you live. So that's always fun too. So, Connor, I mean, I'm going to open up the floor. I mean, do you have anything else you want to speak on the match? Just anything at all?
Right now I can't think of anything, but I'd like to say thank you to you for the call and letting me get to wrestle in this amazing event. I can't wait. It's a week away, and I'm super pumped.
Hey, man, we're so happy to have you. Like I said, just every one of you guys showing up to this event and competing, we're really excited. We think it's going to be a great event. Like you said, it's just a week away, so for fans listening, get out, buy some tickets, show up, and support all of these competitors in the event. It's just going to be an amazing time, and we'll look forward to talking to you a little bit more and getting to meet you in person and watching you scrap, man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and that's going to do it for Connor Brown, and we're going to move on to the next portion of the podcast after this. Thanks. All right, and now we are joined by Triston Lara on the Potentially Dangerous podcast. Triston, how you doing tonight?
Pretty solid. Headed up to Clan, get a practice in.
So we're really thankful that you took the time to join the Potentially Dangerous podcast, especially with the big news that just kind of came up most recently. I mean, you just committed to UNI. How you feeling about that?
Pretty solid. I love UNI. Can't wait.
So you when did you say you were, you pretty much knew you wanted to go to UNI?
Yeah, I went on an unofficial my junior year, and ever since then I knew UNI was the place.
So then, obviously this season, starting in July 1st is when coaches can contact you, and then this fall is when you can start making your visits. Did you go on any official visits just to kind of make sure that UNI was the place for you then?
I'm actually going on my official October 22nd.
Did you go any other colleges then in there too?
Not officials.
No? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Kind of just I know a lot of people take their visits whatever, but I knew that's where I wanted to go, so.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. So, I mean, what about the Northern Iowa program just really sucked you in then?
I loved how I felt like I was one of the wrestlers there already. I mean, they're all like family, and they're so close. I like their personalities, and what they do is just like me. I mean, they all love fishing and everything like that. And that's who I am.
Sure thing. I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I think Doug Schwab's done a really good job at Northern Iowa, really building that family culture, like a type of a feel there in Cedar Falls. He's doing a really great job. And, just kind of sticking with that, you had Holschlag, yourself, Gertz out of New Hampton, Holschlag's out of Union. I mean, all three of you guys commit within like I don't even know, 24 hours. I mean, did you guys all know kind of that you were going to commit, or how'd that come about?
Me and Geertz did. Me and Geertz are pretty close. We've always talked about how we wanted to go to college together and roommate. I guess.
So how did how are you guys kind of connected there, since you do kind of, he's New Hampton, this part of the state, you're more central Iowa, so how's that friendship kind of
during the summers we trained together a little bit. He's a really good partner, so we were on the same size, so we just kind of got together more than I got together with him more than anyone else, like from a different part of this, like different town or whatever, So I guess we're good partners, so it was like I just kept in contact with him a lot.
Sure thing. And kind of looking into your hail from Fort Dodge. I guess I didn't say that. A lot of people, I think, that listen to this podcast know that. But last week, I don't know if you saw on IA Wrestle, we put up our top 3A returning teams, looking at points scored at the last state tournament coming into this season. And did you get a chance to look at that post at all?
Actually, yeah, I did.
So, yeah, Fort Dodge, number one. You guys returned 85 points from the 2016 season. I mean, what are your thoughts on your team coming back and just potentially being the front runner for the 2017 state title?
It's pretty cool that we're at the top, but last year we were too, and we didn't finish how we wanted, so we're just going to stay more humble this year and see how it rolls out.
Absolutely. So you guys, a big part of your team, I mean, you guys got some solid guys all the way through the lineup. You got quite a few wrestlers, yourself included, kind of on that, more nationally renowned there. So just kind of, looking at your team, Bennett, Teskey, yourself, I mean, we know these names. Who are some other names that you think are going to maybe either take a step forward, or maybe you got some freshmen coming into the lineup next year maybe? Just who are some names that we should be looking out for?
We got really two tough freshmen coming in. Jeremy L. at 106 and Levi Egley. Jeremy got third at AAU State last year and Levi won it. I'm not sure. I know Jeremy's going to be at 106. But I'm not sure about what Levi will probably be 132.
Jeepers, just adding hammers into that lineup. So I'm guessing, is your brother going to be back at 45, or is he growing a little bit?
I couldn't tell you. He says he's going 45, but I could see him at 52.
Well,
he's a football player, so he's in football mode. So he's not really cutting any weight.
Sure thing. I mean, I was just thinking, you got, Ayala, Bennett, Teskey. I mean, those guys are probably going to be in a row. You throw in, yourself, Egley, Lochner. You guys are all kind of right after the first three guys there. So if you throw in your brother Cade, I mean, that's just right there. Boom, 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 boom. Start of the lineup. That's going to be pretty deadly. It'd
be nice if he was at 45, but I'm not sure yet.
Sure thing. Well, we could kind of move in. Originally when I asked you to be on this podcast, I wasn't really thinking about this great UNI news that just came out, but we also got you coming up in a Night of Conflict match that we've been talking about it all summer long. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Night of Conflict event?
It's gonna be awesome. I'm super excited. It's gonna be awesome wrestling in Carver.
Last year I remember you wrestled in the Conflict at Carver, and I mean, you beat, I'm pretty sure it was the bracket Drew West was in, and Gabe Townsville. They were both in our event.
I wrestled both of those kids in the actual tournament too.
Yeah, so I remember sitting at the Conflict at Carver, and of course, like I said, you're a name that's pretty well known in Iowa, so it wasn't really shocking to see you have a good match, but all of a sudden I was watching, I'm like, holy cow, he just took out Townsville. I was like, holy cow, he just took out Drew West too for third. And there's I was like, oh my God, we got to get this kid in Night of Conflict too. So do you remember back to that tournament? I mean, did you go to the first night of conflict event then?
I did, actually. And
yeah,
well,
taking you back.
I was a little mad I didn't get to call the wrestling it, but I wasn't complaining. So I just went out and took care of business Saturday.
So, I mean, going back to that event, I mean, what do you remember? What did you like about it? And what are some of the things you're kind of hoping to see this year brought forward?
It was a great atmosphere. The Night of Conflict was. And I can only imagine being one of the kids wrestling in it. But just being in it seemed like the real deal.
You've done a decent amount of freestyle in your career. Of course, Night of Conflict, we have that push-out rule in the folk style set. How do you think this push-out rule is going to work for you? I mean, is it going to alter kind of how you normally would wrestle? Do you think it's going to help you? Do you think it won't really matter? What are your thoughts coming into the event on the push-out rule?
Personally, I stay in the middle of the mat as much as I can, so I don't think it will affect me very much. But I do, every once in a while, I find myself scoring on the edge a lot. So I might have to, when I do get to the edge, be a little bit more careful.
Sure thing. Yeah, it's definitely tricky. I don't know if you know this, but actually we've talked to Doug Schwab, who's on the NCAA rules committee for the coaches. And, one of the things we asked him is like, they want to put the push-out rule in college. So we asked Doug, is this a rule that you like seeing? So, I mean, from what your future college coach was telling us, he said, this is a really good experimental rule. So I'm really hoping you like it. And, hopefully, I don't know. So your game plan is not really too built around it. It sounds like you're kind of, like you said, you like to keep it in the center of the mat, which is what the push-out rules, really meant to do. Last year we had Brody Teskey, one of your teammates, in the event. Have you talked to him about what it was like wrestling down there to just kind of to know what you're getting yourself into?
I've talked to him a little about it. He said he loved it. He said it's super hyped up. He was still a little upset about the outcome, losing phase, but he said overall it was a great event.
So like I said, we had Teskey last year. This year we got yourself, Drew Bennett, another Fort Dodge kid that's going to be wrestling that night. What do you think that says about the Fort Dodge program? I mean, obviously, we're trying to put a good event on, and when we think about who are some kids that are really going to put on a show, take on the best competition, some of the first names we're thinking are coming out of that Fort Dodge program. What does that mean to you personally to know that?
I love it. It's awesome knowing some of our Fort Dodge kids are doing big things and putting their names out there.
And now moving into your match, you got a ranked opponent coming out of Missouri, Nico Chavez. I'm pretty sure he's ranked number 15. Flo just updated their ranking, so he was 17 when we originally set this match up. Now he's looking even a little bit higher on that rankings. I mean, are you really hungry to go out there and get that win to get yourself ranked, or what are your thoughts just on this matchup with Nico?
Well, I'm just worried about beating him, and then when that's all said and done, then I'll worry about getting my name on the national rankings. But first, I got to take care of business next Friday.
That's right. That's probably the good mindset to go in with. Have you, kind of scouted him out at all? Watched any video?
Not really. I don't know much about him, but maybe I'll have to look into it. But other than that, I'm not really too scared or worried about it.
So, I mean, then another question we've been asking, it seems like a lot of our guys coming into the event is, I mean, do you have a game plan that's specific to the match, or what? You don't have to go too specific, but what are some of the things you're working on to get ready for this matchup?
Just make sure my offense is on point. I love to score points, and when I'm scoring points, I'm not going to lose.
So now, this is going to be kind of a tricky question, because I do know that this last February you were finally able to get that first state title on 126 pounds in 3A. So it's probably going to be pretty tough to top that experience. But right now, what's your all-time high moment? Like when you think of what's the event or accomplishment that you are most proud of right now?
Aside of state tournament,
It could be the state tournament, but I mean, if there's anything else, I know it's going to be pretty tough to beat that. But is there anything else that's like, or is that the moment for you?
my freshman year, I know it's a long time ago, but I did really well. I mean, it was sixth, but I had like a 165-man bracket at preseason nationals. I felt pretty good after that.
Sure thing.
There's tons of hammers in that bracket too.
Hey man, you know what I'm really hoping for? I just wanted to kind of get your feel on what your biggest moment was, because, I mean, next Friday night our plan is, I know you said you went last year, but we're moving the mat. It's not going to be in the same spot. We're going to be a little bit set up, hopefully, with the seating and the crowd. It'll be a little bit even more intimate, with the fans right on top of the mat. So, I guess what I was just trying to figure out is where that stands, and, hopefully next Friday we can give you an experience that, you're really going to carry forward with you, and hopefully be that new number one. Like, man, I remember going into my senior year, I got that win in Carver. So just kind of try to get a feel for you. So coming in, you think you're ready to go for this match? How much training have you been doing?
Quite a bit. I have a personal trainer, and I've been hitting the weights pretty hard, jumping up from 126 to 138. Had to put on some muscle. So I'm in the weight room quite a bit.
So, and, we got obviously our event falls on the same weekend as Super 32. And I'm sure there's other preseason tournaments going on, but, when you really think about it, Super 32 is the big one. So what was it that made you want to wrestle at the Night of Conflict when you probably have options to go wrestle at, countless other places?
Not too far away from home, and I can get tough competition without, spending a ton of money going out to South or North Carolina or wherever it is.
Sure thing. Well, we really appreciate you giving us this chance to put you center stage, give you, hopefully you'll put on the show. I'm sure you'll live up to your end of the bargain. I'm not too worried about that myself.
Sure.
For sure. So just kind of moving forward, is there anything else? What other tournaments are you maybe thinking about doing this preseason?
I didn't hear that. Was that, did you say tournament-wise? What else was?
Yeah, are you looking at like maybe preseason nationals or any other smaller tournaments anywhere, I guess?
Yes, for sure, preseason nationals.
Perfect.
I'm wrestling in that other duel that Ames is putting on.
That's right. The Agony and Ames. Yep.
Those three for sure. I'm not sure if anything else.
Well, good deal. Like I said, we saw you last year. You put on that performance at the Conflict at Carver. So I'm putting all of our wrestling, our wrestling competitors in high school right now. If you want a chance to wrestle at the Night of Conflict, we're going to be at that Conflict at Carver. And I'm letting you know right now, that's how we found out we wanted Triston in our event, because I was just like, man, this kid just goes out there and fights hard. So, we're really looking forward to having you in next week. Fans, come in, get some tickets, watch Triston put on a show.
All right.
You want to throw your Twitter handle out there? Get some follows.
I don't even know my Twitter handle. I think it's T-Bird100.
I think so. Yeah. I think I was looking you up, and I'm pretty sure you're right. T-Bird100 on Twitter.
T-Bird100. Yep. And
so give Triston a follow. Come to the Night of Conflict. Watch him put on the show versus number 15, Nico Chavez. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the Potentially Dangerous podcast. I'll open it up one more time if you got anything else you want to say about the event, anybody you want to thank, or anything at all.
Thank you for having me on here, and I hope to see everyone there next Friday watching some studs.
Perfect. Well, hey, thanks again, and thanks for all of our listeners for tuning into the Potentially Dangerous podcast. We're going to be coming at you next week with probably full Night of Conflict breakdown with myself, Lars, and Tony Hager. We'll maybe all come back on the show. It's been a while since all three of us have been on. So thanks for tuning in, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Get low when the whistle go.